Hello everybody, not a shaving video, it's a honing video today. Showing you how I do when I hone my razors. This is the razor I honed up. I'm not going to use it today, I'm going to use it in another video, sorry. Just showing you how I do. It doesn't mean that the things I do is the right thing to do, but that's how I think when I hone. This is a little bit longer video, so if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, it's okay. If you're interested, just look at it. I think it was Lee Chavez asked me to do a honing video, or not a honing video, but show him and you how I do when I hone my razors, and this is what I do. But this time of the year is here in Sweden. This is Sweden Rock Festival, and I just looked at YouTube and found a link to video. That was a compilation video from 2010 to 2019, so 9 years of hard rock music for Sweden Rock Festival. It's a 34-minute video or something like that. If you're interested to know how it feels to be in the Sweden Rock Festival, look at the video. I'm going to link it in the description. It gives me very much memories and good vibes in my body when I saw the video. That's Sweden Rock. Yeah, the quality of the sound and so on the videos is maybe not the best, but it doesn't matter. If you have been on a festival sometimes, that's the feeling. It's absolutely marvelous. So Sweden Rock is, due to the COVID virus and so on, there is no Sweden Rock Festival this year. So, but there was really nice memories from me. If I've been there, I think it's 15, 16 years or something like that. So I like it very much. It's a really nice festival. But we're not going to talk about the Sweden Rock Festival right now. Look at the video, the honing video, and I hope you like it so much. And we shall see you whenever it is. Bye for so long. Bye. Hello everybody. Try to do a honing video. See what stones I'm going to use. Start with these 5,000 grit stone. So water stone has been soaked in water. I flatten it. I think I have to buy a new stone. This is, as you can see, very worn out. So, but still works. So this is the first stone I'm going to use. Then I'm going to use this stone. Specialty stone. Looks like this. It's an 8,000 grit. We have the there. Somewhere I can read here. I hope so at least. 8,000 grit stone. And I'm gonna finish with this Japanese G-knot. Really beautiful stone in my opinion. With 2 types of slurries. This is the first slurry stone. And then I'm gonna use this slurry stone. It's gonna show you how I do these these slurries when I use them. I need a bottle of water or something to squirt water on it. Of course you need a razor to sharp, so I thought we could use this shark razor that I used in a video a couple of videos ago. I don't remember when, but it was a little bit tuggy. So I thought I could use this hone this razor today. And I always use a tomato to check, or tomato or grape to check the edge on the razor, and I even use a loop to check how the edges looks. So let's start and see where we gonna be in a while here. This has been soaked for water for 10 minutes or maybe something like that. So now I just squirt some water on and look that it looks clean. There is no debris on the stone. And I know that this is not so sharp. This is what I'm gonna kill the edge. I'm taking on the edge here and out of corner and drag it 2 times. Then I'm gonna check on the tomato and if it cuts. And as you can see, it doesn't cut. It's Of course it's sharp, but it's a dull razor right now, so it doesn't work. And then I'm gonna start honing, and I use sometimes my left hand here on the toe, just for guidance. 1 or 2, about 10 strokes like that, and I'm gonna put it so it doesn't wiggle so much. That's I have a problem here. And then I turn it, and about 10 strokes, and then same thing. And change. And I don't use so much pressure right now because I know that just a moment, this razor is sharp. I have used it before, so I know this razor. And I just a little bit water and do some X strokes. And I don't use, I'm gonna move the chair. I don't use so much pressure. I'm just using the weight of the razor and guidance. Very little bit pressure, because this, I don't need to do a whole new bevel. I just have to refresh the bevel because the bevel is all right. And now it's just time to refresh the bevel and see so everything is lined up properly. And after a couple of strokes here, I'm gonna take paper and dry it. I always dry several times, always new paper on a new stone. Take the tomato and check if the bevel is, as you can see, it cuts immediately. So these cuts on the toe and the heel and in the middle. So you can see it. There is a nice edge right now. And what I always do when I have managed to get that edge, as you saw, it was very, I'm just going to rinse this a little bit. As you saw, it took not long time, because this razor is used before and I have put the bevel right for the first time, so that it doesn't need so many strokes. But after this check, I always do some very, very light strokes. I don't have to do it, but I always do it. I don't know why. As you can see, this is a white stone, and there was a little bit of gray stuff. It's actually metal that have ground away. This is a 5000 grit stone. Very good stone to use when you want to do a refresh. You don't have to put so many strokes as I do. As you can see, it's really fast. But if you have a new razor, or not a new, a vintage razor, and you have to restore that razor, then you maybe have to work with this stone much longer. And then I dry it on the paper, and one more time I take the check on this tomato and see if it still cuts, so I don't have missed the edge, and it works perfectly. Feels right, at least. Take away this stone. I have finished to use this stone, as you saw. Very quick, very, very quick. Throw this paper away because it's a new stone. I'm gonna use new paper so I don't get some debris from the other stone to this finer stone. As I told you before, add water, check the stone so everything is okay. As you know, I just put an edge on this, put a bevel on this, or whatever you call it. A bevel is actually from the spine to the edge. You got the geometry right, but I have refreshed that now, and you saw on the tomato it was red great. But I always start killing the edge one more time on the 8000 grit stone. A couple of drags like that, not too much pressure, and check it again. And as you can see, almost cut, but not as good as it did before. So I start again. Now I know I have killed that edge one more time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 strokes, and flip it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Doesn't have to be exactly 10. doesn't have to be exactly the same amount on each side. Depends on how much work you have to do on the razor. But you can do 50 here and 10 there, and do 50 here and 10 there. Then you're gonna get a very strange edge. But then you have doing something wrong. And then I add a little bit more water. I'm doing some X strokes. As you can see, probably hope you can see, the water is, when I drag it over the stone, the water is almost up halfway up the stone, at least, the razor at least. Sometimes over means that you have a nice contact on the stone with the razor. And this is much about feeling. Now I'm just finishing some X strokes here, then I'm gonna check the bevel again, or edge again, and then I'm gonna look at the edge with my loop, because I know that edge was okay. There was no chips and some other things, everything looks great. And while you work with this 8000 grit stone, this is a Japanese specialty stone. It's another, looks different. I can't explain this thing. Gonna check on the tomato one more time, see if the edge is merged again, and now you can see it start to cut much better. I have to work it with a little bit more, adding just with a little bit more water. Yeah, the difference is with these stones, when I use that 5000 grit stone, I get I can't explain, but a hazier look on the edge. I don't actually see those scratch marks so well, but there is some haze to it, or some, I don't know the right word, but let's call it a haze. And when I'm using this 8000 grit stone, there is much more polished look on this edge, so I know where I have grinded it or I haven't polished it or not. So that's a good idea for me. Then I know how much I have to work with the edge and where I have to work with the edge. I don't know if you can see, but already there's some kind of glimmering, or whatever you call it, on the edge. I'm gonna take a bit of paper here and dry it and look with the loop. Sorry, this is not so fun to look at, but I have to take a peek. There is the loop. I'm gonna start. There's a light here, so I start the light and take a check. Look if the bevel is, or the edges start to get better. Now I see where I have honed and where that doesn't honed enough. I have to get that edge even polished all the way from the heel to the toe. Yeah. Back to the stone. Sometimes I flip this a little bit. This is much about polishing right now. I don't hone actually so much. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do these circular motions too. There is a lot of different kind of ways to hone, do X strokes. I do a lot of these, I don't know if it's called half strokes or whatever you call them. But these strokes and these strokes, I do it very often because it's much quicker. Then I do a lot of X strokes because I think this is a nice stroke. You get a feeling if it's grabbing to the stone or not. You can work with the heel here if you want. You actually pivot a little bit if you want to work with the edge or the toe. You can work like this if you don't have to work here. I'm just gonna do like that, sorry. But actually on this stone I'm polishing very much right now, so it's good to know what kind of strokes you can do if you're a beginner and you have a razor actually that works for you when you start to get dull. You don't have to go to the 5,000 grit stone. It's actually enough to start with 8,000 grit stone, and you don't have to kill the edge. But if you start by doing slow the X strokes like this, and when you get more comfortable you can do a little bit faster, and you're gonna know how the stone feels. You can use both hands. There's a lot of different techniques to use. You don't have to flip it like I do with the spine like this. I have learned it to do it like that. You can flip it like this if you want. Doesn't matter with the edge down. There is nothing right or wrong. I have learned to flip and roll it on the edge, back or the spine or the razor, and that's the way I do it. It doesn't mean it's right way to do it. That's all. It doesn't matter. I do my X stroke like this. Someone do X strokes like that. They drag it over their edge like that, or this corner here, and that's actually a really nice way to get contact with. You're using only this part of the stone, and you actually can feel all the way where you got that honing action, motion, or polishing action. This is a lot of people using it like that. They're using the corner to actually do the whole razor. I do hard thing about that because if this would be a smiling blade, or it's very floppy like that, or smiling blade, you can't do a stroke like this. You have to do a rolling stroke, if you know what I mean. Everyone have heard about these rolling strokes. It means you have to roll the blade. If you have a smiling edge and you don't like to do these rolling X strokes, try to do this type of motion. Then you do the same thing. You're working with that part of the stone, and you can flip the stone and use that side of the. So there is a lot of things you can do with stones. You can do these kind of things, and back and forth, and you can do circle. You can do. Doesn't matter what you do. The only thing is do something and look at the edge and see how it feels and see how it looks, and you're gonna get it, and you're gonna understand what's happening to the edge of the blade, and that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how you do it. The most important thing is it does what you wanted it to do. And this side looks great at the moment. Gonna test it on the. As I told you, when I check with the loop, I'm looking for the edge so there is no cracks, and that the edge is polished all the way. Just gonna check it on the tomato. As you can see, it cuts all places, and actually with the weight of the razor, I don't know if you can see it, it starts to cut immediately. So this is an edge that I killed on this 8,000 grit stone, and then I have emerged that edge again, and then polish it up really nice with that stone. Now it's time for this Japanese Shoburan stone, Shobasagi, a Shoburan Ginat stone. In my opinion, really hard stone. There is a nice, I don't know if you can see it, but a different color here. It's darker here and brighter here, and that's some kind of, I don't know what it calls. It's a beautiful stone in my opinion. And then I take a slurry stone like this. This is, I don't know what kind of, they call it Nagura stones or whatever. I call it a slurry stone. And this builds up a slurry really fast, as you can see. And always all these stones have to be flattened, so they are flat. Much easier to use than home razor if you have a flat stone. If you don't have a flat stone, you're gonna have issues, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna destroy the stone and you're gonna destroy the razor. You're never gonna get that really nice edge on it if you don't have flat stones. Simple as that. Keep your stones flat. You don't have to over flatten them. Just keep them flat. Every time you do it, it's gonna get hold really nice. I'm just gonna put some more. As you can see, this builds up a nice slurry, and I use always lots of slurry. I don't know why. I don't understand it. Don't have actually. You don't need so much slurry as I do here, but this is the amount I use every time, and then adding just a little bit of water, and then now we're gonna start and do lots of X strokes. This is a little bit smaller stone, as you can see, and takes 2, 3, 4 strokes, and then you're gonna get this slur working. And there is no pressure here. I'm not on the 8,000 stone. Just some guidance and not much pressure at all. And I used to say 30 laps on this stone, or with this slurry, like 1, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, and so on. But this is just something you have to do. I like the edges on these Shubaran edges. They're, in my opinion, really sharp, really soft. I like them very much. And as I told you, I use a lot of slurry. After a while, the slurry starts to get dry, and the slurry, some of them, of course, is running over the edges, so there's going to be less and less more slurry. And I don't know, I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit more water, 1 squirt there and 1 squirt there, and then I do approximately 30 more. And when I do these, you don't have to count, but I count, so I know I've done about 30 strokes, and then I add this more water to the slurry. And when you're working these, you're gonna feel that this edge starting to be stickier to the stone, and you can look at this slurry. You know that the slurry is building up just over the edge, and when it starts to get stickier and more grabbing to the stone, then you're gonna know this. It's a nice flat surface to another nice flat surface. It starts to grab, and as you see, the slurry is very dualated. Dualated, I think it's called. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm gonna add more water, like that. And now this slurry is much more diluted, so it's not so thick, almost water, as you can see. And the same thing here, I'm gonna do up to 30 strokes. So when I'm finished with these 30 strokes, or whatever I count, or how many I want to do, Then I've done about 90 to 100 strokes on this with this slurry. And after that, I'm going to build up a new slurry with another stone and do the same procedure with that stone. And then there's moments when I'm finished with this stone, I'm going to take a peek at the edge again, because on the 8000 grit stone gave a polished edge, shiny edge. These G-knot or G-knot edges, because you use a slurry, it gives you a hazier look at the edge, so you can see actually where you have been honed, polished, or where you don't have polished. So that's a good indication for me to look at. I think it's easy to know what you're doing, because you're using a waterstone from the beginning. It gives you a hazier look with scratches. You take the 8000 grit stone, it polishes it up to a mirror shine, and then you take this Shobodan Asagi stone and it gets a hazier edge one more time. So I'm gonna take a new paper here. It's a new stone, so new paper. And I'm gonna take a peek with that loop again. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, and it looks really great. It's important to look at the edge while you're honing, so you don't crack the edge and or other thing happens to the edge. If you got an issue with an edge on the when you start the hone on the 5000 grit stone, you have to fix the edge on that stone first before you can start to use the 8000 grit stone. You can't correct problems with the edge on the 8000 grit stone if you have a crack on if you find a crack or something other issues on the 5000 grit stone. You have to work with the 5000 grit stone, so it's okay. And one thing you noticed, I haven't used any tape, because these have hone wear on both sides. I don't mind this hone wear because it's an old razor. There was a hone wear on it when I got it. It got even more hone wear when I got it home and started hone with it. But if you absolutely don't want to have some hone wear on this, I can understand if you got a new razor you don't want hone wear, then use tape. Use tape or don't use tape, I don't gonna tell you what you do. As long as you know what you're doing, there's no problems. Everything you do with the honing is about experience and seeing things. Things that can happen when you... With this razor there's no problem, because last time I used it I didn't use tape. I don't use tape on these old razors. If it's not a really nice beautiful razor, then I use tape. The thing that can happen when if you're not used to hone, or you don't know exactly what look after, if you don't have a loop, this is very important, actually very important in the beginning of the honing thinking. If you get a double edge, double bevel, they call it. It's a better word, double edge, in my opinion, because if you look at the edge, it's that thing you look at is, you get, difficult to explain, but you got two angles on the edge, and if you can find that, then you have to correct that. And it can mean a lot of work with a 5000 grit stone, so maybe it's better to go to a 2000 grit stone and start from there, and then emerge to the final stone and so on. So if you get a double edge, you got, or double, I'm gonna say double bevel, because double edge is actually wrong. Everyone else say double bevel. It means that you have honed two bevels on the edge, and if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what's happening on the edge. So it happens to me twice or three times or something like that on all the razors I've done. not a big issue. In my opinion, if you know it, you can correct it. And one thing more, if you want to correct an edge and you don't want to correct the spine, you know you have to grind a lot of, if you got a gold door and so on, use tape on the edge if you want to correct the spine, so that you don't mess up with the edge and so on. So you have to think before you use 2000 grit stone or 5000 grit stone. If you got an 8000 grit stone or finishing stone, you can hone them, polish them for hours. It doesn't happen so much. It's much more about polishing the edge. But if you got the 2000 grit stone, you can actually destroy a razor. Even with the 5000 grit stone, you can destroy a razor really easy if you don't be careful. So, but you don't have to have 5000, 2000 grit stone if you don't want to put the bevels on your edges or razors. So, an ordinary 8000 grit stone and a finishing stone is actually what you need. I like this G-knot with slurry stone. The first slurry stone I use, or Nagura stone, sounds much better, but in my opinion, same but different. Gives a little bit thicker, or what happens when you use a Nagura stone is that you are grinding that stone on this stone, and the Nagura stone releases small stone particles to the to this stone, and then you use that as a grit thing, or if you call it that, and the more you use this slurry, it's getting more and more thinner and more finer, but the stones get smushed or get rolled to smaller stones. It sounds wrong when I say stone, but you know what I mean. The slurry is getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and finer stuff on the slurry, and that means that it's going to get nicer and nicer edge on it. And when I start with this slurry stone here, it starts with even finer the particles in the stone slurry, so it gives you a really nice finishing stone. And if you work it really nice with these slurries, I don't know, up to 20-25,000 grit I have heard on this stone with the right type of slurry. I don't know if that's right, but if you want a Japanese stone, you have the possibility to use a thick slurry, rinse it off, use a thick slurry and use it, then you're gonna get more efficient. And if you want, like me, doing several strokes, do like the slurry and it's getting finer and finer, and you finished almost on this hard stone here, so you got really nice grits on this. So that's the reason why I like this. You have to work with it, yes, you have to work very much with these slurry stones and you have to work, do a lot of strokes with these G-knots, at least I do, but it gives you much nicer edge in my opinion. If you have a G-knot, not G-knot, cortical or some other type of finishing stones, I never used them, so I can't say so much, but as I understand it, it goes much quicker to get an edge finished. As you see, I have done maybe up to 200 edge strokes right now. I haven't counted, so I don't know, but it feels like 200 strokes on this stone. Maybe you have to do 50 more, I don't know. You can do 50 more with no problems if you're careful, but it feels like it's almost sticking to the stone. So for me it feels great. Difficult to show, but it feels like it's sticking to the yeah. And adding just a little bit more water and finished some more strokes here. I know this is not so fun to look at. I'm mumbling a lot, of course, and don't know what I'm talking about. But I hope this edge was great. I'm gonna wipe it off. I'm gonna try to cut some arm hair, see if it cuts, see how it feels on the skin and so on. But the true challenge is when I'm doing a shave. That's the only thing I can take a new paper here so I can wipe it really nice. Shaving with a new edge is the only thing you can actually tell if it's a good edge or not. So my arm here, if you can, I don't know, move this stone a little bit. See if it cuts. Take some hair here. See if it takes hair on the toe, takes hair on the middle and on the heel. So as you can see, all the hair is all the hair is gone there, and we have a lot of hair on the edge, on the razor I mean. So this I'm gonna move this, it doesn't look so pretty. You can look at this one, it's pretty stone in my opinion. So this edge in my opinion is finished right now. The only thing I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna take this to the strop and do 60 laps on the leather side. No, 60 laps on the linen side, sorry. And when that's done, I'm gonna take 100 laps on the leather side, and then I'm gonna do a shave. And that shave I'm gonna film another day, so I'm not gonna use this razor today. So we shall see how it works. So if this Canton by Shark razor works better this time, I hope so at least. Okay, that was my honing video with a lot of mumbling, and thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you're all gonna have a beautiful day. See you whenever it is. Bye for so long.